if you hair follicle test every child in America, 1 in 5 of them will test positive for a controlled substance.
Yeah. There's
no way.
Citation needed. Citation needed. Citation needed. Citation needed. What abstract did you read for that one, Nick? 1 in 5 kids are going to test hot? Citation needed. Citation needed. Also, isn't it ironic? 1 in 5 kids will test hot, and then in your house, 1 in 5 kids tested hot. Like, citation needed.
20% of children in America are doing a controlled substance.
Yeah,
that's not
probably
happening.
Like 19.
And well, at least 30. I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're doing okay. You're gonna lump in the kids doing Ritalin and Adderall into this. Okay, that doesn't count, Nick. Yes, a lot of children are on Ritalin and Adderall, and they'll test positive for amphetamines. Okay, but like, that's not what you were trying to get at. You were trying to get at these tests aren't reliable. Like, were your kids testing positive for amphetamines? If they had a script, it's no big deal. Just like you as an adult, you could test hot for amphetamines if you got a script. You could test hot for Suboxone or opioids if you got a script. Like, what the fuck was that all about?
But yet, that is just a fact. And it doesn't matter what the socioeconomic status is. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It crosses all boundaries. What that tells you is that those tests have an error rate somewhere in the neighborhood of 15%.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy...
How do you know that they were errors? You just said 1 in 5 kids test hot. Well, were those kids actually hot? Were they positive? You didn't. You just go on to say, well, like, are you inferring that? Like, you're not doing a great job at citing this here, Nick. Where's this thing? Like, you're vague. Like, it sounds like you're kid bashing abstracts together.
Easy thought when you go, 1 in 7 tests that I take puts me in prison or takes my kids away. And there's nothing.
Yeah, except I've had a lot of clients get through multiple years of probation with multiple drops, and they're fine. I don't know how you explain that one then. Like, there's enough people who do test, and they test clean and stay clean. The math doesn't work, Nick, on the scale you're talking about.
Nothing on earth you can do to counter that test. Because what the government will say is, well, I have the test. And you'll go, but the test is wrong. And they'll go, well, how do you know? You go, because I didn't do the thing. And they'll just go, but I have the test.
They got to test the test takers. Mm-hmm. You know, like every time you guys do a test, you take a test. And then we'll see.
If you test drug cops, if you hair follicle test drug cops, what you will find is every one of them looks like a horrendously chronic user of every controlled substance.
Yeah.
Because
that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with the testers. If you're in an environment where you have the possibility of exposure to either a substance or someone on a substance, you will eventually test positive, whether you've ever used a substance or not.
Wait, so you're telling me right now I go to BCI's crime lab down outside of Oregon, Ohio, right outside of Madison Correctional Institution, and I can start making them pee in cups, and they're all going to be hot from testing cocaine and fentanyl. Like, you're really gonna go down this road. You're gonna go down this road that everybody in the labs is like they literally treat fentanyl with like bags and airlocks, and cocaine is like all protected. Like, buddy, no. What citation needed again? Citation needed. I need citations.
Not because the tests aren't good at measuring that. They measure other shit. They measure exposure, and exposure happens whether you're taking drugs or not.
This is like a year-long pause of your life, fucking over what turned out to be total nothing.
That's the worst. That's the thing that's done the most like damage to me from a mental health perspective and from a physical health perspective. Is that like the government's pause of my life, and also like trying to convince the entire earth that I'm something that I'm not, which is like a child abuser or whatever. Like And here's the crazy thing. They know the county, like you said, that they wrote that letter. They know that none of that shit happened.
Yeah.
They'll never write a letter that says it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
What they're going to do is they're going to drop the charges of child endangerment. They never could support them. There were no facts for it at all. So they know that none of that shit happened. But it was convenient for them to have that shit go into the public to put pressure on me and leverage my situation. And like, that's just the game of law versus the reality of it. And that's, unfortunately, that's the
because you're truly experienced in the game of law.
That's the fucking ropes. There's nothing you can do about it. But they know, we've read all the reports. I have all the reports. The only thing they ever found was an exceptionally strong bond between the kids and their parents. No adverse health conditions for any of them.
They also found a shitload of cocaine.
They have 5 kids who are so mentally, they're so above average that it's embarrassing. And then physically, they're all above average height, above average weight. They're well nourished. They have no health effects of any kind.
Yeah.
And that was their ultimate problem, is they go, holy fuck, how do we deal with this?
How do we hit them for something when they're all fine, when all the kids are fine, better than normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Obviously,
like, if you take a moment and I put myself in the shoes of the county worker, they don't know me. They don't know those kids. So they get these crazy reports from insane people like Aaron, who flat out fucking lied to them in the interview, which again, they hand me all.
So yes, Nick's, yes. So I get it. You think Aaron's a liar, and I'm sure he's going to scream about the church people here in a second, or maybe he won't. We'll see if he talks about them.
These recordings, I know everything that was said, but they get someone who lies.
Are you going to go through those?
Them.
You have all the recordings. Can you go through them?
Yes, I can.
Well, it sounds like we have.
Will you? He said I can do it. He's not going to let us hear him, though. I can do it, but are you going to? Notice the silence there. Notice the silence when that came about. Notice the silence, chat. Well, can you do it? Well, are you going to do it? I guess I can. Call that a clue. We call that a clue.
In the interview, which again, they hand me all these recordings. I know everything that was said, but they get someone who lies.
Are you going to go through those? You have all the recordings. Can you go through them?
Yes, I can.
Listen to the quiet. I can. Will you though?
But here's the thing. Like, okay, so they get this narrative painted to them, but they don't know.
Notice we moved on right away from that. Oh, well, so here's the thing.
Any of the players in this game, right? Like, they don't know Aaron. They don't know me. They don't know anybody. All they have to do, they go, okay, our job is to make sure these kids are safe. I'm hearing this person's like a crazy manipulative cult leader who runs a sex den in front of his kids at the breakfast table. And they have to believe that at first because somewhere that happens, I guess. But as they went through and observed us with the kids and talked to the kids and stuff, what they found is like, oh, look, loving parents, loving kids. None of this shit has been like, if we had not been arrested and the county hadn't said anything to our kids, they would never know anything about drugs. They've never even seen us intoxicated on anything, including alcohol. Because we don't get drunk around our kids. You're taking care of them. People make a big deal out of it. It's like, guys, I drank between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. after my kids went to bed. Mm-hmm. Very specifically set up so that I would not be having to like drive them or provide care for them. And when I would drink on my show, there's another adult in the house who's sober just in case something happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, but people, like that all gets overlooked. It's like, oh,
they're not, honestly, they don't care. They already made their mind up. They don't care about any of this
caring about
shit.
your kids, man. They don't care about you.
They're too busy caring about those kids.
Exactly.
And you can, as much as, and no amount of care is too much.
Yep.
When you're talking about someone else's
Ever.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
For the kids, man.
Yeah.